Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, you are amazing. This is the place where we can sit down, have our morning coffee, and talk about the two-way happenings and goings-on with an amazing layer of humor, sarcasm, and overall just freedom quest. This is going to be one of those you're going to enjoy, guys, because national reciprocity is picking up momentum. We've been talking about it. We've been seeing where it's going. We're going to walk you through it right now. But sometimes, for some weird thing, it brings out all the rhinos, too. Enjoy this. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button. Like it, share it. Do all the great things to spread freedom. Tim, I hate to do it to you in a beautiful morning filming, but John Corin is going to show up in this one. I'm just going to let you know. I hate to see it.
It's always the same players.
Mm-hmm. But a different script. It's almost like they have script A and script B. But we'll get to him. He'll get his. Okay. But overall, though, we talked about this pre-show a little bit. National reciprocity, for you guys that are not familiar, effectively what they're floating from a Trump level, from a House level, and from a state level, a Senate level, they're floating that if you have a concealed carry permit in one state, it's going to be honored in the other state, and if you have constitutional carry in one state, it's going to be honored in the other state. Of course, the left is going to lose their minds when this comes out, but that's effectively what it is. It's one system that recognizes other states, so you don't have to have a mix mashing of different laws that could pinch you and put you in jail like Massachusetts does. Overall, Tim, I personally think that this is going to be the main push. Like, all the forces are aligning. What are your thoughts on this?
It's hard to say. I get concerned about the rhinos. We have such a thin majority in the House that all it takes is just a couple of defectors to either withhold their vote or to vote against it, and it's not going to go anywhere. So, we've been talking about this for a long time, and the 2A community is completely split on whether or not they want this, right? And I get the opposition to it, because if the federal government's going to say, hey, we're going to now issue licenses and permits.
Now it's us.
and then it's like, no, thanks. I'll pass on that one. Thank you. Because that's registering yourself with the federal government. And
absolutely.
Over time, that the restrictions on that will become more and more restrictive. Mm-hmm. And so all they should do, and look, we already have laws in place. All they need to do is force the states to honor existing law, because by law, states are already obligated to honor other states' licenses and permits. That's the only way a nation of 50 different states, 53 or 57 according to Obama.
Obama, I think it's 57.
And maybe 52 or 53 according to Trump moving forward. But with 50 states, you can't have them all touching each other and then saying, well, if you cross this imaginary line on this imaginary map that you really should have on your GPS in your car anyway in modern technology, you're going to become a felon. And you can't do that. You can't make me a felon for exercising my Indiana rights in Illinois, because I'm an Indiana
and by
resident.
the way, it's a federal constitution. It's a national constitution. Yes, 100% agree. And I think where this is really going to go, and guys, let us hear you in the comments on this, because this is a very important distinction. This simply has to be what Tim just said. Any lawmaker watching, anybody that we talk to, this is pretty much the area where it needs to be. It doesn't need to be this huge, overwritten new licensure scheme, permitting scheme from the federal government, and it doesn't need to be anything like a registry. Literally, hey, state A recognized state B. Good talk. I mean, it could be one page. This does not have to be that difficult.
Yeah,
but that's where we kind of get into the weeds. Like you said, the opposition is going to say no way on a national level permitting, and I completely understand and respect that. And then the Democrats are going to say no, this will literally end the world. I mean, think about the cockroaches. Right. I mean, that's how this is going to go. But we're going to get into it. We're going to watch it. So just to keep do a state of play, Tim. Right now we have a bill introduced in the House for national reciprocity with 108 co-sponsors. We have a bill introduced in the Senate, a companion bill, also with co-sponsors and also in national reciprocity. And Trump has made the promise, a part of his, now that I'm president, we're going to do this for the gun world. Everything is laying out really nicely on the high level. Now, of course, the devil's in the details, and we're going to break all that down here in 1 second. But you know what, Tim? It comes to a time in a man's life when we have to listen to John Corin. And this is probably going to spark a lot of feels. I'm going to be honest. There's going to be some feels. So with that, Dr. Slides, why don't we start it, and we'll just do our normal routine of like stop it when we want to scream.
Another way that will keep our citizens safe is by ensuring that Second Amendment rights are safeguarded. The Trump administration will end President Biden's assault on the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. as well as the Biden administration's bad faith interpretations of Second Amendment related legislation.
You know, Tim, I'm sorry to stop him in his track. He's such a great orator. I don't want to just fall asleep. It would be weird. Would it be rude of me to bring something up that would be a little obvious for anyone who knows anything about what should I say? I think I should.
Go ahead and put it out there because people need to know. Yeah.
I think we need to know because no one knows. Dr. Slides, could you do the second link here? And I don't know why I'd want to bring this up. Oh, wait a minute. Look at that, Tim.
Yeah.
The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act signed with John Cornyn and Tom Tillis and Kirsten Sinema and Chris Murphy. That's weird because I thought isn't John Corin the guy that was just talking?
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Gun Control himself.
That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, this is the most comprehensive gun control in 30 years.
And nothing at the same time. It's incredible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And here he is talking about the assault of the Biden administration. When did this pass? Wasn't it like in 2022?
It was actually. That's weird.
So why are you helping Biden pass the things you're now saying are bad? You literally just did the thing, and now you're saying the thing you did is bad.
Exactly. Don't do the thing if the thing is bad. That's such a good. That's the shirt right there. Don't do the thing if the thing is bad. It's not difficult. You are a RINO on the Second Amendment. You openly negotiated this piece of legislation right here, which the ATF took at free will to let every single American in the United States 18, 19, and 20 was subjected to a mandatory 10-day waiting period of their rights because of this guy.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to get to the point where we have a rational conversation on the end about most likely where this is going to go. But for right now, shame on him.
Yeah.
And that's me putting it lightly.
He's doing what all the other RINOs are doing. They're falling into line because they're scared for the political futures. Yeah. It's like you're going to see a lot of this flip-flopping. I mean, you're even seeing flip-flopping not just from RINOs, but even from Democrats. You know, Democrats calling up Trump trying to get on his good side. It's like they're all scared of what's about to happen, and that's why they're all flip-flopping. But this is a great time to actually see how these people just waffle in the wind.
Yes.
You cannot trust them with your rights because it just depends on the political winds that day whether or not they want to defend your rights or trample them.
Exactly. That dude, you just nailed it.
Yep.
You nailed it. And we've said it. We did say it. It did happen in 2022, which I'm pretty sure was only 3 years ago now. Actually, 2.5 years, if you really want to put to the specific month of June when it passed. It's just, anyway, I had no reason we brought that up. Let's go back to the video to hear about the new stalwart defender of the Second Amendment. Because, Tim, I love having defenders of the Second Amendment out there. I mean, they say the right words. They pass all the love for the Second. Oh, wait a minute.
I look forward to leading my Senate colleagues in reintroducing my Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act and working with the Trump administration and our co-sponsors here in the Senate to get this legislation across the finish line.
Okay.
Now, I know some...
Okay. All right. Now a moment of pragmatism, Tim. I don't think that we throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I think we watch this guy like a freaking hawk. And why do we... Yeah, go.
I was going to say, has anybody read this bill yet?
The text does not exist.
I didn't think so.
So you're going the right direction. Keep going.
Yeah. So my concern is with Mr. Safer Communities Act here. What he's going to do is put a bunch of verbiage in this reciprocity law that's basically going to give the federal government the power to say yes or no and to license you, and probably have some tax scheme tied to it. I mean, I don't know that's what he's doing. I'm just saying it would not surprise me.
It's potentials.
Right, because there's got to be something in it. Literally, folks, keep in mind, Article 4, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution has what's called the Full Faith and Credit Clause. And this clause forces states to honor each other's laws and licenses and everything, public records, everything, marriages. If you get married in Indiana, you're still married in Illinois under this clause, right? But the same thing, if Illinois issues a driver's license, there's a reason why it's honored in Illinois and Ohio. But when you get a license from the state of Indiana to carry a firearm, suddenly they're no longer being forced. All they have to do is enforce the existing law. They don't need to do this.
Right, but that would take away all the importance and pomp and circumstance and the horse trading that they could do over it, Tim. I mean, obviously.
I mean, if anything, Congress should just pass a law saying, look, we fully support Article 4, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution. It needs to be implemented. They don't need to add anything else to it.
They could even do a continuing resolution. You know how much they love those, Tim.
Right.
You know, the thing that you just kind of immediately went to is so on point on this. If they're going to go down this road and we're going to get national reciprocity and that's going to be the win and that's going to be the pound of flesh that we get, or at least one of the pounds of flesh that we get. Okay, so now you're going to start writing a bill. As the person who passed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, yeah, I'm going to watch the hell out of that. Because here's what they do, guys. They'll put these bills forward and they'll be like, yes, it's an amazing Second Amendment rights after you get this license from the federal government. And then maybe you just pay a permitting fee every year, kind of a renewable thing to keep the system up to really fund NICS. Because, I tried to fix NICS, but now we need to fund NICS. It never ends with these people. And that's called a poison pill. And that's when other Republicans go, oh, hell no. And then you got a little Republican infight where John Cornyn goes, well, we tried to pass a bill, but those dang maggots. And then the MAGA people are going, no, you passed something that wasn't constitutional, dillhole. So that literally, that's where this is going to go. That's the nuance that we have to really pay attention to.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Like I said, there's a simple fix to this. And then there's the overly complicated fix. And I don't trust Cronin to do anything other than just make things not only overly complicated, but probably some sort of an infringement on our rights.
Oh, we got more.
Oh, do we?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
What else does this guy have to say? Because I'm already ready to puke. I just can't stand looking at him. Put him next to Nadler. I think that would be like it'd be better than Ozempic.
That'd
be just stop eating.
Folks from places like New York or maybe San Francisco might say, you're actually going to make it easier for people to carry a firearm legally? Well, the answer is already the vast majority of states have licensing regimes where responsible, law-abiding citizens can exercise their Second Amendment rights by getting a license to carry a firearm, including Texas and including the District of Columbia. I happen to have a license in both jurisdictions. And many states have gone simply to a non-licensed status so that people can exercise their Second Amendment rights. I would reiterate, America and Americans have nothing to fear from law-abiding citizens exercising their Second Amendment rights. Those are not the people that we should be concerned about. We should be most concerned about people who are criminals who cannot legally carry a firearm, or people with mental health incapacities which are currently prohibited under existing law from carrying or owning or possessing a firearm. Those are existing laws that are enforced given the National Instant Criminal Background Check System.
He's already got a bunch of what ifs in there, doesn't he?
Did you hear that? Didn't that sound nice?
We want to make sure that everybody can carry a gun, except people that are prohibited from carrying a gun, and people that have some sort of a mental illness. We'll define mental illness like PTSD in soldiers,
or balancing your checkbooks,
or balancing checkbooks, or maybe autism. Like where do you draw the line on this mental health? And they'll put these what ifs in there, and say, because there's folks like us that believe if you pay your debt to society, all rights should be restored. If you're too dangerous to be on the streets, you're too dangerous. Or too dangerous to exercise your rights, you're too dangerous to be on the streets, right? So all these what ifs will always add up to, well, we're going to say you can exercise your rights, but you over here, maybe not so much. And then the maybe not so much group, well, that group gets to expand year after year with new congressional actions and ATF actions and everybody else that wants to put their hands in the pie and mess with your rights. So that's why you don't want the federal government doing this stuff. He just explained it so eloquently why we don't want the federal government doing this.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Tim. You mean you didn't like the part where he just went down a list of all the potential ways they could poison the bill? You didn't like that?
It's like we law-abiding Americans, but here's these other people that we don't necessarily want to group into that. That group always expands, right?
Oh, that's the point, right?
Yeah, I mean, but they'll start off, innocently with these two groups. Like, well, we don't want like complete wackadoos getting guns, and we don't want violent criminals getting guns. Okay, cool. But that will appeal to a certain segment, but they won't lift up the hood and look underneath. Like, what are they really talking about here?
Correct.
I mean, did you have a bad year and not pay your taxes, and therefore now you're a criminal that's not allowed to own a gun.
Exactly.
I mean, where do you draw the line here?
Did you pay your federal taxes? Did you pay your property taxes? Did you make sure your tags are end to date? Do you have your licenses up to date? I mean, literally.
Right. I mean,
that's
a
worst
any
case scenario.
reason to label you.
Right. And that's the worst case scenario. And by the way, guys, if you ever wanted to know where the whole Republican RINO temptation into red flag laws is, what he just said is where it comes from. That's it right there. All these rights for everyone, except those, of course, that we deem maybe not the best. That right there, that little window where they say all the rights, but that little freaking segments, that's the part. That's why we're going to watch him so closely, because he will put some stupid crap in here. Potentially, he hasn't done it yet. To his credit, Tim, he has not done it yet. However, that's what to be looking out for on this. Now, let's be a little pragmatic. I'm willing to watch this guy like a hawk and put him in a wheelchair and just edge him towards and along the line so he doesn't screw anything up, and watch him really, really tight in order to get this passed. Like, I don't want to just throw it away because he's a RINO, but I am going to watch him real tight, real tight.
Yeah, he's not to be trusted. But look, the reason he's even out here giving this speech is because he's scared of the Trump administration, and he's scared for his own political future. So maybe there's enough fear in his nasty little body that he won't do something crazy. I guess we'll just have to see. But it's not beyond him, because as you pointed out so carefully at the beginning of this video, this is one of the people behind the Safer Communities Act that we're still struggling to undo.
It's a good time. But that's all from John, though, Tim. I'd start off the morning with a little bit of Ozempic. What'd you say? Him and Nadler was the
him
Ozempic?
and Nadler. Picture him and Nadler stand next to each other. It'd be better than Ozempic for weight reduction, because you puke every time you got near food looking at those two. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll keep an eye on you, Johnny boy. We'll talk to you guys soon.